I was wrong. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I was wrong. But what was I wrong about? But I was also correct when I said this movie might not really do well for Sydney Sweeney. But I've seen a couple videos where people are like, Sydney Sweeney is back. And I'm wondering, is this a correct claim? Because I do not think Sydney Sweeney is the reason why people went to go and see The Housemaid. Or I don't think she's even responsible for the success of this movie. If you haven't seen my previous video, you should definitely check it out. My name is Elifome, and this is Binge and Gist. So, I finally got to see The Housemaid a while back, but I have been so into the holidays that I could not just come and sit down and make this video and talk about it, because I promised that I was going to talk about this film as soon as it dropped. And I did see it, but I did not make the video. So, Happy New Year, everybody. We're back, and we're back for business. If you're not already subscribed, you should subscribe to my channel. I said The Housemaid might not do very well because of the backlash that Sydney Sweeney is getting, and it might not be a good close for her for 2025, but I was wrong because people went to see this film and it is a box office success because of Amanda Seyfried. Everybody went there, had so much fun with Amanda Seyfried playing Nina and her character, and I think she just got lost into that character and she nailed her role. So another thing where I was wrong, although I was right earlier before reading the book, I said Sydney Sweeney doesn't look like a housemaid, but when I was reading the book, it seemed like, okay, she might be able to play this when I consider her roles in Euphoria and The White Lotus, just this annoying character-ish that she has played previously. And I thought, okay, maybe she can do this. But I was completely wrong about that. Sydney Sweeney was horrible as the housemaid, Millie Calloway, and I cannot even believe how lackluster her acting was. She was just, okay. So those are the only two things where I was wrong about this movie, that it was not going to be a box office success. Number one, because people do not want to see Sydney Sweeney right now on their screens. And number two, that Sydney Sweeney looks good as a housemaid, or that she could play the role of the housemaid. But because the film was a success doesn't mean I enjoyed it. I think this movie is not a good movie at all. If you enjoyed it, please tell me why in the comments, because I'm about to tell you why I did not like it, and we can even continue this debate down in the comments. So first of all, this film starts off with a little bit of internal monologue from Millie, and we got to see this narration from Millie just in brief moments. We saw it when she was writing her diary and when she was leaving the Winchester house when she first met Nina, where she had this small tiny internal monologue that we had, and it was okay. Honestly, I was like, okay, good, we'll understand Millie, or the audience will get to understand Millie while they watch this film. But it did not continue. The film is so inconsistent with its tone and its portrayal that I was disappointed by it, because I feel like the narration was what made this film really solid. That if there's a narration, if we see the inner thoughts of this character, people might understand the character better and relate to her or be on her side or criticize her actions. But they did not do that consistently. I think the only narration that I enjoyed in the film, although it was not a consistent tool used in the film, was when Nina was saying her side of the story. And that was the only voiceover that people I really enjoyed. But I've seen people who did not really enjoy that. Instead of just telling, people preferred if they had just showed them instead. And this film is 2 hours long, but it was in a hurry. It did not make any sense that it was in a hurry. I think it followed the book very well, but it gave me nothing. It gave me absolutely nothing. It was in such a hurry here and there. And I feel like the director and the writers tried to cram everything in the book because of the book fans into the movie. So it was just this really fast paced, okay, here. And fast paced is good sometimes. But in this case, it did not really work for me. And the final thing I did not like about this film was the ending. I hated the end in the book, and I still do not like the end of the movie, because it did not make sense or a bit convenient. No way in real life would that just happen unless you have some kind of magical creature. But I think that what happened at the end of the book did not make sense. And when I saw they were changing the end of the movie to when it was about to end, I said, oh, this is a nice addition. Let's see. I'm proud of the director and the screenwriters for doing this. But then ended, and I did not get what I wanted to get. It still did not make sense. It was still very convenient. In my opinion, if you're going to do it the same way as the book was, what was the point of changing how it happened? You shouldn't have just changed it at all, because it did not make sense in the book. It did not make sense in the movie either to me. but the actions that led up to that end, or the actions at the end of the film, actually different from the actions at the end of the book, but not completely different. If you get what I mean, you have to read the book or you have to see the movie. I'm trying not to spoil this film for you if you're interested in seeing it. That's why I'm not talking about what exactly happened at the end. But if you want me to go into the ending discussion, you should put that in the comments and we will do that. So it did not make any sense to me. But the movie was not totally bad because we had Amanda Seyfried playing Nina. She, like I said earlier, got lost into the role and she did amazing. The director did well. I think he did well in bringing this book that is not so solid to screen, and he made people enjoy it, even though I did not 100% enjoy it. But Amanda did very well. And if you're going to see this movie, I'll only recommend you go see it because of Amanda and no other reason. But if you're expecting some sort of stellar acting, a good psychological thriller, I do not think The Housemaid is it. But some people like the book, some people like the movie. I do not know why. So if you do, you should tell me down in the comments. So if you like psychological thrillers, you should definitely tell me which one you're watching right now, what you're watching next. But I'm not sure what to watch next. So if you got to the end of the video, thank you for watching and do well to subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.